Hello everyone, my name is Nightly Nick and I have something super important to talk to you guys about today. Now, this is actually going to be my very first commentary video, and as such, I felt it appropriate to make it about a very important topic, just to get the ball rolling properly. So today, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the cult classic movie, Hoodwinked. Let's get into it. So about a week ago, I received the jarring news from my fiance that she had never seen the movie Hoodwinked. And obviously I could not let that stand. And a realization that I came to as I was trying to remedy this problem is that Hoodwinked is a very, very difficult movie to find. I checked almost every streaming service, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, and it was not available on anything. In fact, the only place I could actually find the movie was this 720p version of the movie that was uploaded to YouTube by somebody. And I was like, can this really be the only place that I can watch it? Like, let me check somewhere else, So I go to Reddit and I found this, which I thought was very funny. Does anyone know where to watch Hoodwinked, the animated movie? Some godsend of a person put the whole thing on YouTube. This did indeed confirm my suspicions that YouTube was the only place we were going to be able to watch this movie, so 720p it was for us. Before I get into the breakdown of how absolutely incredible this movie is, I think it's super important to talk about how insane the pacing of every part of this movie is. And I think the easiest way to display that to you guys is just to play this opening scene in its entirety. So please enjoy. I just want you guys to understand.
What's going on, Grandma?
This and that, doing a lot of quilting, so you got the loot.
Whoa. What big hands you have.
Oh, all the better to scratch my back with.
And what big ears you have.
All the better to hear your many criticisms. Old people just have big ears, dear.
And Granny, what big eyes you have.
Are we just gonna sit around here and talk about how big I'm getting? You came here for a reason, didn't you? So tell old Granny what you got in the basket.
Granny, what bad breath you have.
All right.
Ah! You again? What do I have to do? Get a restraining order?
Settle down, little girl. I'm on to you. Save it, red foo. You've been dodging me all day, but now you might as well give up.
You crazy wolf. What have you done with Granny?
I'm taking Granny down, and you're next.
Granny!
But you, that's not my fault.
I think there's a lot for me to pick apart in this scene, but a couple of the main things are the fact that the wolf pulls out a fucking lance on a child, which, like, I get that in the whole, like, Red Riding Hood story with, like, the big bad wolf, it's the wolf's gonna kill her anyway, but somehow it's a lot more gruesome when it's with, like, a freaking lance than just eating her like a wolf would normally do. Much more of a human element to it that I don't very much like. And just this giant lumberjack character that busts in at the end too. There's just a lot going on, and this really is in the first minute of the movie, so it really got my expectations high for what I would expect for the rest. Another thing that I'll try to draw a lot of attention to as the movie progresses is they really didn't put any of the budget at all into the background characters, and it's very apparent right from the get-go, and I will try to clip as many of them as I can for you guys to see, because this was one of my favorite elements of the movie.
What do we got?
It's a domestic disturbance. Breaking and entering, wielding an axe without a license, intent to eat.
I get the picture. Any connection with the recipe robberies?
You mean the goodie bandit? Could be. The house belongs to Granny Puckett.
The cookbook lady?
Yeah, that's the one.
Because who is this guy? Who is this guy right here?
The cookbook lady?
Yeah, that's the one.
My point. So this is where we get like the whole setup of the movie. We have our crime scene investigation, and then we have the interrogation of all of the individuals who were involved in the crime that we saw at the beginning of the movie. But before that happens, the most insane sentence leaves this man's mouth, one that I never thought I would hear in all my days.
Alright, so this looks pretty open and shut. Little Miss Rosie Capes making covert deliveries to the goody tycoon. Wolfie tries to eat them both. Then crazy flannel pants with the axe here busting swinging vigilante style.
After this, we are introduced to the real Benoit Blanc of this movie, which brings me to my point that I would like to draw a lot of comparisons between Hoodwinked and the critically acclaimed movie Knives Out, which I actually loved. I watched it again recently, and only upon rewatching Hoodwinked did I realize how similar the two movies were. I think one of the biggest ways this movie is structurally similar to Knives Out is that it strikes up a very perspective-based storytelling by having each individual who was involved be interrogated by this Benoit Blanc character. And then you slowly piece together different parts of the story experienced by different characters, which is the exact same structure as Knives Out, where you slowly find out more about each character and what they were doing, and you slowly piece the mystery together. But this one predates it a little bit.
That's the problem with you bears. Always grounding up the wrong tree.
Hey, Nicky! You on the case, Nick?
No, just stopping by to have a sarsaparilla. Say, Tommy, you lose some weight?
No.
Didn't think so.
We're also introduced here to another main conflict in this movie, and it's kind of minorly dropped here, but I guess goodies and goodie recipes, obviously an essential commodity in this forest, have been going missing, and for whatever reason, losing the recipes has been putting these goodie shops out of business. I don't know if they only have the recipes written down in one place, or if they just forgot how to make this thing that they've always been making immediately when the recipe is stolen. But somehow these stolen recipes track back to what has been happening with Little Red Riding Hood, the wolf, Granny, and whoever this lumberjack dude is. I don't know how it connects to them, but the bear seems to think it does. So that's fine.
Goody shops have been going out of business for months, and the trail ends here. I got a case to close.
Slow down, Chief. We've got 4 suspects, and that means 4 stories. And if you get people talking long enough, someone will spill the beans.
Beans?
Now, our first girl interrogated is going to be Red Riding Hood. And this is also the first scene where I find out that this movie is actually also a musical, which I had not expected at all. I thought there was already enough going on in the movie. But here that is. And I think the soundtrack in this movie actually goes kind of hard.
Can someone show me a different day to take me away?
You're next? What does it mean, you're next?
It means someone wants our recipes.
Are they gonna get your recipes?
Not today.
So Little Red Riding Hood discovers that the Goody Bandit is probably going to be after her grandma's recipes next, and we know that her grandma's recipes are some of the most famous in the forest. Obviously, Red doesn't want this to happen, so she takes the goodies for herself so they can't be stolen. And then Red delivers the most iconic teenage girl line.
You deliberately took your granny's recipes from the family hall without permission.
Help yourself.
And then you set out on a dangerous journey up the mountain alone.
Yeah, I guess I did.
I think Red in this movie is the quintessential teenage girl icon, line delivery, soundtrack, and all. So Red goes up the cable car with Boingo. She has a fall.
Careful.
Just a normal fall. Nothing suspicious there. Now, before we get into the introduction for Wolf W. Wolf, if Red was the teenage girl icon of this movie, Wolf W. Wolf was the teenage boy icon. He really was the original Nick Wilde.
Afternoon.
Hello.
So, you're the little girl in the red hood. That was quite a bit of falling you did just now.
Oh, you saw that.
Yeah, gravity's working. Those old cable cars on there. She read a letter. Wow, something smells good. Those, goodies in there?
I'm not supposed to talk to strangers.
No, you shouldn't. Good call.
Granny?
What's that? Who's there?
It's Red. I'm on my way to come see...
Oh, my dearie, I'm not prepared. I need to put down fresh doilies. Ah!
Granny! Granny, what's wrong?
Gotta go, Munchkin. Munchkin!
Oh, no.
Now, this next part isn't crazy important for the plot, but if you're like me and you're someone who watched Hoodwinked as a child, I thought it was important to include this because this part of the movie might be eternally seared into your memory like it is for me.
Oh, good. More singing.
I got horns that open bottles, and I got horns that hold my key.
Granny?
Use the hood, Red! Use the hood!
If you don't already understand why I think this wolf character is so cool, I think this little interaction between Red and the wolf will make you understand.
Don't I get a drink?
No.
So, Mr. Wolf. May I call you Wolf?
You can call me Sheila. I like long walks and fresh flowers.
Quit playing around, Wolf. You're looking at 3 to 5 in an old shoe with no windows. So start singing.
Your face looks familiar.
I get around the forest.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Wolf?
I'm a shepherd. Hey,
You might as well confess. I told them everything.
could you keep her away from me, please?
I remember you. 3 years ago on the Stiltskin case, you were snooping around for a lead on his real name.
That was close, too. I was gonna go with Greg. Greg Stiltskin.
Hey, wait a minute, Flippers. You saying this guy's a cop?
Worse, he's a reporter.
Oh, what?
And I've got the real story. I'm an investigative journalist. You've probably read my column, Facts and Fairy Tales. I spent the last 6 months undercover investigating the so-called Goody Bandit. As more recipes go missing, the trail has gotten higher. Huh? The little delivery girl in the red hood. Always on the go. More goodies pass through her hands than anyone's in the whole forest. She seemed happy. A little too happy, perhaps.
I think part of what I like so much about this wolf character, Wolf W. Wolf, is that he fits into the framework of the movie in that Hoodwinked as a whole is trying to dispel the whole classic trope of a fairy tale movie and everything that comes along with a fairy tale movie. And the movie's already done so in a lot of ways, like setting up this whole crime scene investigation after prefacing like the whole Red Riding Hood fairy tale. But I think the wolf is the cherry on top of dispelling this whole thing because the wolf is the classically bad character in the fairy tale. So if you throw him in as this kind of ambiguous reporter journalist character that actually has a lot of cool lines, cool scenes, and doesn't turn out to be such a bad guy, I think it does a number for the movie, and I think it makes him a very interesting character. If you thought you recognized the wolf's voice in Hoodwinked. It's probably because you've heard his voice in a million other places. He's actually voiced by Patrick Warburton, who voices other characters like Kronk, Joe Swanson, Buzz Lightyear, Sheriff Bronson Stone, and obviously Wolf W. Wolf.
Twitchy, you scared me.
Hey, boss, call it. Hey, I beat you on your beeper. You get my beep?
Twitchy, you gotta calm down.
I got a Burley and I got the gear. I was watching the girl like you told me to, the girl in the red hood.
Yeah, the girl in the red hood. Did you see where she went?
She went past the porcupines and the redbird's tree and the guy with the long beard, and now she's up the creek and she sings everywhere she goes. She's like, la, 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 la.
Yeah, I'm way ahead of you. You ever thought about decaffeinated coffee?
I don't drink coffee.
And if this movie wasn't already filled with enough tropes, they obviously couldn't miss having the hyper energetic squirrel, which is a classic of any animal or any fairy tale movie. And they even went so far as to name him Twitchy. But I love him all the same.
Yeah. In fact, I know a shortcut.
You hear that? He knows a shortcut.
Over the...
Now this is a shortcut.
What? Sounds like an avalanche.
Well, Twitchy, that's natural. It's just old man Mountain showing us who's boss.
One of my favorite parts about this storytelling method, where it looks at everyone's different perspective and then tells the story from their point of view, is the points where the people's stories interconnect and you see how those moments look from different perspectives and how it influences the other characters' stories. And I think this here is my favorite instance of that in the entire movie.
Box of candles, light them up. Wow, that's nice and bright. What kind of candles are those?
Bean or wheat cane. Must be Italian.
Lose the candle. Got it. You hear something? Come on, let's get to Granny's. Hello? Lucky for me, Granny keeps a lot of her merchandise around the cottage. Disguise was the only way to catch this girl in the act of smuggling.
Sweetie pie. Little sugar plum. How's your granny? Little pudding pop.
Boy, that's hot. Okay, change the plans. You can be Granny.
She's coming.
Granny, it's me, Red. Is everything okay?
Yeah, sure thing. Come on in.
I want to know more about this fellow with the axe. How does he fit into all of this?
Maybe you should axe him yourself. He was singing. I'll bring him in.
So next we get the story from the Lumberjack Kurt's perspective. And I don't think Kurt is the most major character in the entire movie, but basically his background, he is an actor. He's waiting for a callback on this role where he's playing Paul Bunyan.
That was my first audition in months. Then it was back to my day job. I drive a schnitzel truck.
But on the side, he also runs a schnitzel. He runs a schnitzel truck. He relishes in the fact that he's able to make the children happy by giving them schnitzel. I think a lot of the time, the way animated movies draw children is less than ideal. Sometimes they don't look the best. Sometimes they look like the spawn of Satan. And you just never know when you're going into an animated movie. And I think a good example of this is the way that the kids look in Barbie. But in this movie, you know, Hoodwinked already didn't have the highest budget as far as animation goes. I feel like that can be seen even in the main characters, but especially in the background characters. And it really took its toll on the kids in this scene. I'm just going to play this one for you in its entirety because it made me feel like I took something that I shouldn't have. So here you go.
Mommy, I want a schnitzel stick.
Schnitzel, favorite treat for little girls and boys to eat. Schnitzel man can serve them quick. It's a schnitzel on a stick.
No more spoons. Use your hands.
Says the friendly schnitzel man.
Make sure you keep an extra one for later in your later holes.
So Kurt ends up getting a call back for this Paul Bunyan role in the commercial that he was after. And just as any good method actor would do, he goes to chop down trees to get in the spirit of the role.
Yellow.
So you didn't jump through the window, you were pushed.
Yes.
By a tree.
Yes.
Because you were pretending to be a woodsman.
That's right.
To sell foot cream.
I got the call back.
And good for you. Well, I think it's safe to say that our thespian friend here knows the least about anything of anyone in this room.
Exactly. What does that mean?
Then it all points to Granny.
Check this out.
Oh, no. When did they make that a sport?
It's true. I'm not like other grannies. I never did like the quilting bees and the bingo parlors. I'd rather live life to the extreme.
All right, Nightly Nation. I know what you might be thinking at this point in the video, right? You might be thinking, hey, Nightly, didn't some of the stuff in your background change? Does your hair look a little longer? You look like you might be a month older than the last shot in the video. And to those accusations, I say, how dare you? How dare you? It's not like the stress of making this video got to me, okay? I took this shot right after the last shot in the video. It's not a month later. It's not a different day. I didn't wear the same sweater just to convince you guys that I'm filming this at the same time, all right? It is definitely just a few minutes after I took that last shot. All right, now let's get back to talking about Hoodwinked, okay? Can we do that? Okay.
I was on my way to the big Extreme Dream Snow Sports competition.
I've already talked about the music in this movie a little bit. I know it's kind of a musical at certain points. I think the soundtrack itself is on point. I love it. I love the soundtrack in so many scenes in this movie. But this wouldn't be a real Hoodwinked video if I did not talk about the band that is playing at the Snow Sports Festival, Creatures of Habit. Let's hear it for Creatures of Habit. Give it up, guys.
You can take the critter out of the tree.
Because this band goes so unbelievably hard. I don't know if you know this, Nightly Nation. Nightly Nick is also in a band. I'm in a band called Woke Up Older. Check us out on Spotify. I would be honored to open for Creatures of Habit. So if you're listening to this, Creatures of Habit, if any of you guys are a part of Nightly Nation and watch my videos, hit us up. Hit us up, okay? Hit us up.
What's up, baby?
What up, my homies? You ready to get spanked?
Yeah, so what's the dizzle, Grizzle? You ready to floss that hill, player?
Full shizzle.
Yeah, give me some love, give me some love.
Hey, G, you checking the hardcore European team over there? Those guys put the Sabretooth brothers in the hospital yesterday. On the real, it's gonna be wicked out there.
You let me worry about those player haters. Oh, I almost forgot. I made you kids some snickerdoodles.
Yo, give me one of those.
Give it up.
Zickety-doo.
I think the way that they make the granny talk in this movie is literally insane. And I'm kind of embarrassed because I'm not as cool as her.
Well, what's your name?
Just put to my biggest and cutest fan, Boingo. And then, like, put some X's and O's and a little smiley face.
Right about when Red called me the second time. I always forward my phone when I leave the house.
Granny?
Uh-oh. What's that? Who's there?
From this big muscle man.
Gotta go, Munchkin.
All right, guys, we have a lot to unpack in this scene, okay? First of all, Granny is positively not beating the strongest anime character. Allegations. This woman could take Goku. My live reaction to watching this scene of this snowball fight of her against the Russian team was like, this is another major part of the movie too, where we start getting the very perspective-based storytelling. We're getting crumbs, you know, we're getting more pieces of the story coming together that we already saw from the other characters' perspectives. We saw from Red, we saw from the Wolf, and now we're flashing back on this phone call that we already saw from Red's side, calling Granny.
Who do you work for?
I can't tell you that.
Young man, you tell me this instant.
All right. We were hired by the bandit.
Who is the bandit?
Granny is finished. Now we go after the little red hooded girl.
We're also finally getting some clues. All right. We're getting some clues from this burly Russian guy on the Russian team about the goody bandit. All right. We're finally getting some crumbs. So this whole team works for the goody bandit.
I wish I had a video That's my girl. Guess it's just one of those days.
And this actually brings us to my absolute favorite scene in the movie. It's my favorite scene, and it's my favorite twist of the ethereal granny in the sky that Red saw earlier, that you're like, oh my God, Red's having a vision of like her grandmother who she loves. Nah, that's her. That's just her. She's just in the sky. And the way that they, you know, they coalesced every twist in this story to end up with Granny there, it's perfect. It's perfect storytelling. This is the pinnacle of cinema that you're seeing right here. I don't care what movies you've seen before, what cinema you think is good. I don't know if you like A24. This Hoodwinked is peak. This scene also brings us back to the very first scene in the movie, of the initial crime scene, of the initial reason that W. Wolf is dressing up as Granny, and it also shows us how Granny got tied up from Granny's perspective. So at this point in the movie, Red finds out that her Granny has been playing extreme sports behind her back for all this time. You know, some arguments ensue, some harsh words get thrown around. All right.
Honey, don't look at your granny like that.
I'm sorry. I thought you were Triple G. Or are you the bandit?
Awkward. And then we go into a bit of a musical number. This one's called Red is Blue. This brought me to tears. I'm not gonna lie.
Seems like up is down and red is blue. Because red is blue doesn't make much sense, but red is blue.
I'm not even gonna say Red is in the wrong on this, all right? You know, look, Granny can do what she wants. She's good at extreme sports. I don't know why she had to lie about it. That's fine. But we have a little bit of a flashback here. And it's like, even if you're going to, you know, try to hide this part of your life, like, you don't have to go this far, all right? Like, listen to what this girl has to say.
You carry on a grand tradition. It's a big job making sure the world stays sweet.
What's this?
Oh, it says world's greatest grandma.
Grandma, I can read. It says Battle of the Iron Cage Gladiators. Granny?
Listen, Munchkin, if there are two things your granny doesn't do, it's lie and play extreme sports.
I think I would be fucking mad too. All right. Because, like, what do you mean if there's two things your granny doesn't do? It's a lie and play extreme sports. My hands are tied for you, Granny. I can't. This would not hold up in court. I could not defend you. Okay, you are not beating the extreme sport allegations. You're not beating the strongest anime character allegations. And I'm sorry. I think something noteworthy about this movie is that this movie in fact does pass the Bechdel test. I don't know if all of you are familiar with the Bechdel test, but essentially it's a test that it assesses pieces of media for representation of women, basically. And the criteria are that there's at least two women in the movie, that they talk to each other exclusively outside of talking to a man, and that the content of the conversation is also not about a man. So this conversation between Granny and Red does suffice to pass the Bechdel test. So thank you, Hoodwinked, for representing our woman.
Are you saying that little Red is the bandit?
Not my Red.
Calm down there, Triple G. The only thing your granddaughter is guilty of is flying a swarm of hummingbirds without a license. It would seem there is another player in this game.
All right, guys, they're about to make the big reveal of who the culprit is. But before that, I'm gonna give you guys just a second. Final guesses right now. Who do you think is the goodie thief? Who do you think's stealing all the goodies? Submit those. And now here it is.
Someone who's hippity-hopped his way through all of your stories. There's someone else. The only one who was with Red when she fell. Who knew a shortcut to Granny's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in fact, I know a shortcut.
Who fraternizes with evil ski teams.
What's your name?
Just put to my biggest and cutest fan.
And someone who was there when the schnitzel truck was schnitzeled.
What the schnitzel?
Not the bunny!
I knew it. Never trust a bunny.
Never trust a bunny.
Oh my God, guys, it was the bunny. Oh my God. Bunny. Kudos to y'all if you figured out it was a bunny. I definitely didn't hint at that at all or insinuate it earlier in the video. So congrats. You're so smart if you figured out it's a bunny. Congratulations. You're all so talented. All my followers are so talented. You figured it out. You figured it was a bunny. Congratulations. It may have been a little on the nose that it was the bunny. Okay. It may have been a little on the nose. Can't say I would have felt that way as a child, but yeah, it was pretty obviously the bunny. But I will say this does fit into like the whole flipping the script narrative. Like the wolf is actually a good guy. The bunny's actually the bad guy. I think I could have seen that coming.
You got to stop those cops. Run them off the road, dangle a donut in front of them. I don't care. Just tell them they're going the wrong way.
Easy peasy, boss. Leave it to me.
You'll never catch him in time.
Is that coffee? Well, I can't believe I'm saying this, but drink up. We may want to stand back. Go get him, boy. What have I done?
Now the rest is up to us.
Can I have coffee?
They utilize one of the most classic animated movie or cartoon tropes of all time, of giving the already hyper character like caffeine or sugar, and then making them break the fucking sound barrier. There have been so many shows and movies that have done this in the past. I know Over the Hedge is one of them. I think there was a We Bare Bear episode that did this as well. I actually Hoodwinked might predate those two. I might be digging myself down a rabbit hole here, guys. Let me Hoodwinked was in 2006. When did Over the Hedge come out? Also 2006. Interesting. Oh, but Hoodwinked came out in January of 2006 and Over the Hedge came out in May. So you kind of copied Hoodwinked Over the Hedge. Yeah, Over the Edge is what I am after watching this video. Guys, I think it's appropriate. Call to action. We have to cancel Over the Hedge. They're just unfairly stealing from our movie Hoodwinked. I do have to say though, apparently 2006 was a great year for animated movies. We have Hoodwinked. We have Over the Hedge. I'm also looking at Flushed Away also came out in 2006. And then B Movie came out in 2007, which is kind of making me feel like movies in this style were very, very popular at the time. May have been the beginning of the end for media culture. Now we're getting to the climax of the movie here. Red follows Boingo up the mountain. We find out about Boingo's evil plan, and then we get the infiltration scene of our movie's heroes coming in to try to stop him.
We've really grown in the past last year. Nabbing all the recipes was phase 1. Now phase 2 is adding my own special ingredient to every goodie. A little something I like to call boingonium. It makes my snacks a little more habit-forming. Happy customer. Phase 3 gets a little messy. I'm gonna need a lot of real estate down the mountain, so I've got to blow the competition away. Oh, and that's not a metaphor. We've literally got to blow them away. Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
I love that the central part of Boingo's plan. I love the real estate that he's gonna blow up the forest. Because when I find myself, whenever I'm looking at a beautiful view, whenever I'm out in nature, I'm in like Yosemite, just admiring. I'm like, you know what would make this view better? A Walmart Supercenter.
And now that I have your granny's secrets, I'm afraid you'll be taking the Dynamite Express home. Oh, you won't be disrespecting this buddy no more, cause I'm gonna be top of the woods. Oh yeah, I said I'm gonna be top of the woods. Let's bring it on home. I said I'm gonna be.
Quick question for you, Hoodwinked animation staff. Why is Boingo thick? Get back to me when you can on that, I guess.
Top of the woods. You've been hoodwinked, baby.
Mad respect on Boingo name dropping the movie. Hoodwink, you've been hoodwinked. That's the name of the movie. That's the name of the movie I'm watching. Oh my god.
Toughest one is the big fella. Really mean looking with a fat head and a thick skull. Looks like a shaved ape. I mean, he is ugly, like a big, swollen, overgrown. He's standing right behind me, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He's right behind me, isn't he? Also, I don't know if Grandma gets it from or if Granny gets it from the extreme sports, but she's mad disrespectful. She be shit talking, dude. That'd be, if I heard someone say that about me, if I heard someone utter any of those words about me, bro, my career would be over. I would just quit.
Just need to tap the pipe, see if your wiring's up to par.
Whoa, hold it. You're not, no, you can't touch anything in here.
Let's walk. Let me level with you. You're an evil genius, right?
Well, I don't know if I'd say genius. You know, I was asked to join Mensa.
Well, you got yourself an evil lair in a mountain cave, that's standard. But see, most of the masters of evil that we deal with are up to evil genius code. Are you familiar with the code?
You know, I'm more of a do-it-yourself kind of guy. Yeah.
I understand. Are you thinking about putting in a laser?
I don't know. What, do you think I should?
Well, it's standard equipment for a cave lair. I'm not saying you're going to zap someone with it today, but you got to think about the future. Those things have got to be calibrated. You don't want to do that yourself?
Well,
Well, we should just take a look at that power grid.
Bro, honestly, the Riz on Wolf W. Wolf is unbeatable. This man has got me. He's got me that bad. All right. I would be like putty in the palm of his hands, just like Boingo is in this scene, dude.
Wait a minute. I smell hairspray.
There you little buddy.
All right, so the caffeinated hyper-ass squirrel is able to catch up to the cops and warn them about the villain's escape route so they can head them off while they're trying to escape.
Minute? I've got an idea.
Okay.
The criminal you're looking for cannot be found at the bottom of the mountain. He resides at the top, in a cave fortress where my companions are trying to detain him.
Well, that's more like it.
How do we know this squirrel?
No!
Red is in like a dangerous predicament, falling down the cable car, and then Granny uses her extreme sport skills to save her. So it's like, oh my God, Granny, I'm so happy that you've been doing extreme sports all this time. Let's make up.
Granny! You know what to do.
I take after my granny.
And everyone lives happily ever after. Kind of epic. Until we get this little teaser at the end. Okay.
You sure this is the right place?
Ah!
Mr. Flippers!
I see you all got my message. Glad you could make it.
What's going on?
Well, I was wondering if you'd like to come and work for me. I could use some fresh talent like you.
What kind of work are we talking about?
You'd be undercover, on impossible missions, to faraway places. There's a lot of stories out there that need a happy ending. I'm part of a secret organization that makes sure that happens.
Happily ever after agency?
The woods don't go around by themselves.
Yeah, all right. Okay, we fight the bad guys, break the speedboats, climb the walls, and swing through the windows, secret agent style, right? Yeah!
So, what do you think?
Bring it, honey.
I always did like happy endings.
All right, guys, I just have a couple final notes that I have to get off my chest before I'm done with this video, okay? Hoodwinked has a very special place in my heart. Now, I know that after this ending, they did go on to make a Hoodwinked 2. I don't think I've ever actually seen it. I don't think it could possibly be better than the first one. I'll look at the reviews on that too, but I just don't think it could live up to the first one. I don't know if I have the heart to watch a second one after everything that the first one took out of me mentally and emotionally. But if you guys begged on your hands and knees, I would consider making another Hoodwinked video. But I definitely have some other review videos lined up for some old movies that I want to talk about. And I have other fun activity videos that I want to do too. You guys should lay in wait. I also want to talk about the phenomena, and I can only think of one example of this right now other than Hoodwinked, because it sounds like Hoodwinked is setting up for their sequel to be like a secret agent style, like, you know, happy ending service. I shouldn't say happy ending service. That's not what I meant. You guys know that's not what I meant, right? Let's not call it a happy ending service, okay? Even happy ending agency is a little bit much in hindsight. I don't think the movie knew what they were doing when they did that. Okay? All right. It's a kid's movie here, guys. This is relax. Okay? I didn't mean nothing by it. But I think there is a phenomena in children's media where they will make sequels to a classic kids movie, and the premise is always about the characters from the first movie becoming secret agents. I don't know why that happens. The first example that comes to my head is Cars 2. But I swear to you there's more, and if you guys think of any, drop them down in the comments below. But otherwise, this will be it for my Hoodwinked review. Thank you all for joining on this crazy rail ride, I might say, of a movie. I know it probably took a lot out of you to watch this with me. So thank you for being here. If you enjoy the video, like, comment, subscribe. It'll help me make more videos for you guys in the future, because I have fun, you know, diving into useless garbage like this. Hoodwinked's not garbage, I'm sorry, but I have fun, and I hope that you guys will join me on my future ventures like this. But until then, I will see you guys in the next video, Nightly Nation.